I believe so, yeah.
Okay, never left. All right. Bawi Grogna Wheat Nitty Transformer fans, we are Prince, what is that?
It's Venom with eyes.
Or pupils.
Okay, just to be funny. Prince, we talked about this. This is about a Transformer problem, not a Marvel problem, and Venom is not the problem here. Why does he have giant eyeballs?
I don't know. I found this image somewhere on the internet.
Okay. This is going to be a long one. Greetings, fans. Welcome to my channel. Today, we'll be discussing about the problems and situations of Hasbro and the fate of Transformers franchise. Today, joining with me is King's Domain, 1, Retro Jack, and Prince Productions. Please introduce yourselves.
One by one?
Yeah, let's go one by one. I was trying to see if maybe y'all will go at the same time. Just be funny. But yeah, one at a time, though.
All right, then. Hello, I am Retro Jack, or just Retro, and you might have heard me from something, I don't know, and I just create whatever I feel like. That's that.
Yes. Hello, I am I'm Prince Productions. I also do stop motion, or I do stop motion and stuff. I have a series called Transformers Reunited that will soon be making a comeback. So yes, I'll also be making some other stuff too.
Yeah, I made the thumbnail for it.
Yes.
Oh, we already got that.
All right, King's Domain.
Hello. I'm bad at doing these intros.
Yeah, you're good. We'll get on to the topic. So, as I mentioned, we're here to talk about Hasbro. After the recent couple of years, especially after the events of Earthspark, I kind of fear that Hasbro is really going downhill with the Transformer franchise kind of thing. Oh, and Redler, yes, we heard about Reactivate 2, and we'll talk about that. The first topic we're going to talk about is the recent figures that have been released ever since Transformers Legacy was made.
Ooh.
And let me tell you, there had been some good words about it, but a lot of bad words about it. And let's not talk about the cussing parts. So, which one of you would like to discuss, like, which is the worst figure you think they ever made yet?
Like recently?
Or like recently, or back then, or before, like random kind of thing.
The ones that are made out of plastic.
Well, recently, there's like a small few that I have I don't like. In my opinion, half, and I do mean half, not all, because there's some good figures in here, but half of the Gamer Edition line isn't as good as it could have been. B and Cliff could have been better. Barricade could have been better. Same thing with Megatron, and same thing with Starscream. I don't like Starscream mold. I'm sorry, I don't like that Gamer Edition Starscream mold. A lot of people like it because of the plastic thing. You know, it's just not accurate to me or in wherever. So
That's looks pretty good though.
Yeah, Sideswipe is good. I love Sideswipe.
Yeah, not bad.
I love his
and half of Legacy. I mean, Legacy is like a mixed bag. Some is good, some is mid, some is really bad. Like Point Blank, I think Point Blank is really bad.
Some makes you go, "What the fuck were they thinking with this decision?"
There's some figures like Animated B where I'm like, oh, y'all actually did a fantastic job with this. And then there's some figures like Legacy Prime Breakdown where I'm just like, why? Why did you make this decision?
Yes, I hated those Prime figures.
Totally bad.
I never bought them. I said, fuck it, I'm skipping them. Save some money.
It's hard to say for the most part, but I do think that the Studio Series Camaro Bs that aren't the Rise of the Beasts or the what else is it? Oh yeah, just Rise the Beast for the most part. Because I mean, the old Camaro B figure, not the re-release, but the original one that came out in 2018 was dog shit. And
That
then
would be the first one.
yeah,
That's
and
the
then
full one.
the other Camaro Bs, like I don't think that they're the worst figure Hasbro's ever made, but I think that they are an issue. They have horrible issues that really do stem from the clear plastic thing. But also they're small and their clearance doesn't make up for how the transformation wants you to do things because everything just knocks into each other and it's just a cluttered mess, to be honest. I think that there needs to be a bit more time spent in development to make sure that the transformation was actually a pretty smooth process. Now, if you have the mold and you had a decent time trying to transform that thing without breaking something, you know, that's all great for you. But
I am
my,
I am one of
Some
those
of us
lucky.
will have a problem with
I'm
that.
aware.
I'd like to add to that the QC issues with trying to maneuver around when transforming them.
It's
Like
just
not just Bumblebee, but like any figure, because things get bump into other parts, and you gotta try to move it, but it can only go so far.
again, that's the issue with downscaling things too much because stuff like that figure needed much more space for the parts to move around without bumping into you. So, like you shouldn't have to flex the plastic to transform a figure. That's not
Oh, that
good.
shit scares me.
that's that just completely throws out the structural integrity of it over time. It's gonna snap at some point. It can only take
Oh,
so.
believe me, I have that like once or twice.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'll admit, Legacy is like half and half. But I mean, think about Studio Series. I feel like they did a better job on most of the figures. But like you said, the Bumblebee problem, they could have worked it out better. But we have some pretty good Golden Boys from the Studio Series. Like,
the Studio Series is great. They do
Yes,
a great
dude.
job. It's just the main problem is that they have one of the worst clear plastic issues I think I've seen. To be honest, when it comes to how cheap it feels, the Generations figures tend to have much stronger plastic, depending on what it is. Besides, like, actually, I was gonna say Studio Series Jet, but it's a Studio Series figure, as I said. And that one had bad issues, but Earthrise Datsuns, not Silver Streak, because Silver Streak actually he doesn't feel like he's gonna crack or anything, and I don't abuse that figure. But then there's like Prowl that had the leg cracking issue and stuff, and Blue Streak did as well, and that wasn't good.
Yeah,
like I try to be careful.
Studio Series though is, in my opinion, I think Studio Series is honestly one of the best lines they have made because most of the figures in Studio Series are pretty good.
Now, if only they work on the Gamers Edition version, like you said, but like they really have some decent ones so far.
I'll at least say like they've gotten better Gamer Edition so far with Ratchet and Sideswipe. They've definitely improved on a
The
lot of them.
game is hit or miss, and I feel like it shouldn't be at all, considering most of the older figures did what the newer figures could do. It just needed a few tweaks, and I don't know why they felt so obligated to completely alter the frame of some of them, like Starscream, that didn't need it. If altering the frame was going to make it look that drastic from the video game model, maybe it's not a good idea, especially if the old toy didn't do it and it looks like a 1-to-1 to the original. It just needed some tweaks and some better paint and stuff, and it needed to be taller. And
Exactly.
boom, that's all. Why would you put the head into the chest if you knew it was going to bloat the proportions out of the water? Like that's just bad. That's poor design and poor design management.
What figure are you referring to?
Starscream Gamer Edition.
Uh,
Well, here's my intake about why they keep doing all this. Like, think about where the money is going. Like, do you know how they're making all those big special figures that have been releasing recently? Ever since like Unicron or that RE 2001 figures pack thing. I feel like they're putting that much money
Omega
into
Prime? Talk about Omega Prime.
Or yeah, like that. Like I feel like they're sending all the money for the good stuff. Like they're trying to spend like more than half of that rather than just than just doing like a better job of whatever figures they're doing. I don't know who's in charge of the Transformer production kind of thing and give it to the boss. It's like I feel like they need a new management for Transformers. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's real pain for all these figures have to look like this.
The way that they budget these things are a bit odd because certain things that would be cheaper isn't always the best alternative. But I mean, the thing is, I've seen what Hasbro can do on a budget, and they make Studio Series hot. The Studio Series hot, both of them, movie and G1 Hot Rod, both of their Studio Series ones. They were able to make those things goddamn amazing, and those are on budgets because they're retail figures, and especially like when Hot Rod wasn't at scalper price, he was around like $20-$30.
Okay, now the G1 Hot Rod, I agree, but I don't know why it'd be like a retail or something cheap. But that thing looked like it was a smaller scale of a masterpiece figure, but with more darker color and better detail.
How do they do that? And then they go over to other figures, and they just drop the ball because they're lazy with that. They pick and choose when they want to be lazy and cut corners, and I feel like that shouldn't be ignored at all because they've been doing it for years, and it's very irritating when we have to see that. Especially since I still think that clear plastic inserts should be enforced entirely. They did it with B-Movie Shockwave, and I'm pretty sure that's cheaper than just making the whole thing out of clear plastic. You just make a frame, leave one section out, and all you have to do is just get a little bit of clear plastic, slap it right in the middle of that frame, and boom, this figure's gonna last longer. It's gonna be a much better product for it. You don't have to worry about painting the whole thing, which takes up money. And you don't have to use that much clear plastic, which is also cheaper. I don't get why you wouldn't go with that alternative other than just being lazy and making the whole thing out of clear plastic and then it breaks over time or just breaks out of the box.
Agree.
There's one figure I felt should have been a whole its own mold instead of being slightly molded and painted. Toe line. That really pissed me off. Because I even said something about it in the description pictures that I posted. And people are saying, oh, well, it's close enough. I'm like, no, it's not fucking close enough. In the show, this alt mode was a customized tow truck. What they gave us was nothing close enough to it.
That's another thing that adds on to it. Another reason why the Legacy toy line is mostly just mid is because they don't do them properly. They don't if you're gonna say these characters are from the Transformers Prime universe or Cyberverse universe or wherever universe they're from, they better be 100%, if not damn close to that universe. Because I've heard so many people give them slack on it, being like, oh, but maybe it's not exactly the same, maybe it's made the same, or maybe it's just trying to do a different take, or blah, blah, blah. No. If you're going to say it's from Transformers Prime, it needs to look like it's from Transformers Prime. If you're going to say it's from Animated, it needs to look like it's from Animated. I don't want you to say, oh, this is Transformers Prime Bulkhead, and he looks nothing like Transformers Prime.
Yeah,
that's
my
at that point.
Proposed.
True.
At that point, just say it's a different version of the character, because at that point, you're just lying to me. Like another example.
Prime universe
was
another example, like Toe Line. He's supposed to be from the RID 2001 universe. Looks nothing like that universe aside from maybe the head or the colors.
That's exactly what I was pointing out. People were coming at me about. I'm like, well, it's the fucking truth. If you look it up, his alt mode it clearly specifies is a customized type of tow truck.
Exactly.
And they, instead of making it deluxe, it could easily be in a Voyager. That's how they could have handled him. I mean, Voyager. After all, his character was a bit bigger than the characters that got deluxe figures because he did somewhat tower over them.
Like honestly, like I think most of the older Prime and animated figures are really good anyway. So even if these new ones were accurate, I don't think they would be as good as those old ones. But you could have at least still tried to make them more accurate than the older ones, like Skyquick and Dreadwing. Those two are phenomenal figures. And you literally grab someone like Thundertron, who wasn't even in the show, yet he's the most accurate one out of all of them. I don't understand them sometimes.
It's
I
very
understand that either.
pick and choose to make like a Thundertron. He looks hella accurate. So we're doing that with him, but then when it comes to the other characters, oh, this is Prime Universe. What? What is this? Isn't this supposed to be a multiverse line where we're taking things from different continuities? So why are these specific continuities being completely changed to fit a specific demographic if it's supposed to be multiverse? While the characters from like the Unicron trilogy, because they fit that demographic, they're just automatically going to be as accurate as possible, even though they made some tweaks and stuff to make them look even more accurate to the source material, which is, strange. It's like, what are we doing? Like, the only instance where they completely threw that out the window was Vector Prime. That was the only one. Because that's just a remold, and I think that's lazy as well. I like.
Yes. What really bugs the hell out of me are the fucking knees. Like, not to mention the side pieces where that are sticking out like a sore thumb.
Mm-hmm.
Where the little wings on Triaxis were at. Like that just bugs the hell out of me because that should have been a whole new mold as well. And I honestly, I'm skipping that because I see it all the time. I skip it because I plan on getting the original figure.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't look as horrible as it could have, but it's still like, why? Like,
exactly.
If you're gonna bring back the character, just make a new mold. Stop remolding stuff and giving it out. Like, what other figure company on a daily just remolds other characters and sends it out? They've been doing this since the start. That's how we even got some
third-party companies do it.
Yeah, I mean, but those are like when they're making a character for a reason, mainly because for the most part, third-party companies always choose a specific continuity to make something of, or if they're doing their own thing, it's usually some type of original design. And if they're
usually good.
And if they remold it or if they redo it, it's for a specific reason, or it's just like whatever, Especially since they're third party, they're not main Hasbro and all that stuff. But then there's Hasbro over here, and the reason why we even have the Seekers and all that is because they kept on making remolds, and they've been doing it since the '80s. And I think that just like at this point, there's got to be a time where you kind of just stop or just slow down on doing that because it's lazy. It's very lazy. That's how we got that freaking breakdown. That's just a remold. Like, this is just these are disservices to the characters, and this is pathetic.
Knockout's another one.
We're the one paying for this. Why are you doing this to us? Why are y'all screwing us?
Knockout is another one.
Sorry. But to wrap this discussion up, that I totally agree with all of your opinions. They really have become lazy on all these figures ever since they've been doing it on Legacy. But I'm hoping maybe one day they'll try to just do a better job. And if they see all these reviews and all the negative videos about how people or fans are feeling about the figures, like, my man, they really are doing a good job with the studio series. But one problem I'm hearing they're having about is like one person made a video saying like someone is hating the G1 thing because the dead Autobot scenes or the dead Autobot figures they made for the 86 movie line. I don't know about that. But all in all, I think they need to step it up a bit, or else they're really going to have a hard time trying to get some fans back for Transformers.
And SS needs to start focusing on something and finishing it, because I'm tired of this happening. Because what was the Studio Series line specifically made for back in 20?
Movieverse stuff.
The movie stuff. It was made for the movie stuff.
And then 86 stuff took it over, which I am still very much annoyed by.
Then we got this and that. Like, why didn't y'all finish what y'all started, then decide to do that? Because I don't have a problem with those lines. Them giving us other lines in studio series sounds like a great idea, especially since that's going to keep the line alive. But that's something that you do after you've already concluded all that you needed to in that specific line. Then that's when you start branching and doing something else. You don't do that right in the middle of it, because we still haven't gotten a bunch of characters from the Age of Extinction and The Last Night, and some still from the other movies. There's still some characters we need, or that we are asking for, and they have not given us much of anything, and it's a shame. But then they're moving on and working on more G1 stuff, even though we're already getting that in other lines. Honestly, a lot of the 86 stuff could have just been released in like Legacy and all that, especially since Legacy is a multiverse thing. Wouldn't it make sense? But I mean, yeah, movie. That's a movie too, as well, technically, I guess. But it's just finish what you started. It's very disgusting that they did that, especially since I wouldn't be as mad if they didn't completely just abandon the movie stuff to do this, because that's what they did. They didn't even try to keep up with it. They just abandoned it and gave us crumbs, and then bad Legacy for a good minute. And then the second a studio series fan says, "Oh, can we get some more of the thing that I started buying figures for in this line?" And then people are like, "Oh no, you're just a Baver simp or something," or "Oh, you complain about everything," and it's dumb. I think that this shouldn't keep happening, because it's unfair to a lot of people who've been waiting. Like, I've been waiting years to get another Nitro Zeus and an Onslaught from The Last Night. I'm like, I want those figures badly, and that they haven't provided. I mean, Onslaught never even got a figure.
At least we ended up getting a Mohawk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like Mohawk, so that wasn't really.
That's the definition of a crumb, nonetheless, still, because it's a little core class. There you go. There's your Studio Series stuff. There's the crowbar. There's your hatchet. Go ahead, be happy with that. Now we're gonna keep all of this.
And then when we do get movie stuff, is like, I mean, the Rise of the Beast and B movie stuff is great. Don't get me wrong, but if it is just movie stuff, it just be only those things, and Bavers would be back in the like it should never have taken us this long to finally get Q and Station Optimus and Hatchet from Studio Series. And again, there's so many others that need to be made, like Onslaught, Dreadbot, like new TLK figures,
I
new
still hate
AoE
that
figures.
name.
How y'all gonna finish the 86 Dinobots and not even bother with the Babers ones? Like, we
I actually have something to add to that, which I learned recently. So there was somebody said something to Evan and them, and this was a while back, and they said something about once they were done with the 86 Dinobots, they were to go back to doing the live action Dinobots. Well, we're done with the 86 Dinobots, so I guess they might be doing the rest of the others next. But if they do, besides the other three that were in the movies, I'd also like them to do Slash, Sludge, and Snarl. Even though they weren't in the movie, they still had like artwork, and they still ended up getting figures in the original toy line. But I'd like to see like figures of them in Studio Series.
That should have been. They should have been on their priority list from the start, because again, Studio Series is a movie toy line.
Like, it shouldn't have gotten to the point where we're like, oh, we need to finish these Dinobots first, then we're gonna go back to those. No, you started with these ones, so why don't you finish those ones, then go back to the other ones? Like that, we've been waiting for those movie Dinobots since the line started. Like, this is a shame.
There's another problem. They never even finished doing the Decepticon part, because we only had like Coronation Starscream, Scourge, a Sweep, and now the recent Galvatron that's now released. Well, both seem to be released, but I know we're going to get the Devastator thing, but where are the rest of the cons? Like,
and then that's another thing. They be giving us. It's not even like This is an issue of both, like, well, more so for Legacy than Studio Series, but it's also for Studio Series. So we have Coronation, Starscream, and Galvatron here and there. But they, instead of giving us figures that we'd rather have or we've been asking for a while, like for example, for Legacy, we could have gotten a new Nautica, a new Deadlock, a Horrible, but nah, they're like, oh, let's give you a G1 Deluxe Optimus. Why?
Oh, we're getting a
Let
horrible.
let let's give you let's reissue figures. Let's reissue Legacy DEFCON, even though literally no. Let's give you all the figures that you do not want. Let's make an 86 Galvatron, which is just a repaint, instead of giving you an actual worthy leader class, like maybe, I don't know, an AoE Hound, like a new Hound figure for Stu Series. Like, what are we doing here?
Okay, I'm sorry. I gotta admit, I would love to have the DEFCON right now because I'll need him for my G1 reboot series. But all in all, on the topic, yes, they're pretty lazy. They need to work on new molds and all that shit. But thanks to you, Prince, mentioning about the movies, I think that takes us to the second opinion about what we need to talk about. The movies.
Real quick, I have something to add about DEFCON.
Proceed.
So you guys remember back when we were rumored to be getting a DEFCON from Dark of the Moon, but they canceled it because it was bigger than a leader class.
I didn't know we were supposed to get one.
Yeah, we were. It was reported on. Well, it got me thinking because what's bigger than a leader class that was introduced a couple years ago recently? Anyone? Yes, but also no. Commander.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, how come we haven't gotten our first Bayverse Commander class yet? Yeah, we got 3 different G1 commanders.
That's my point with DEFCON. Because he was partly bigger than leader class, since they came up with commander class like 2-3 years ago, why don't they just really keep working on him and release him under a commander class, the first commander class for the live action movies? Just as simple as that. I mean,
and I swear, since we have that concept series for Studio Series now, I better see a transit be made in that series. I don't care. Make him. I don't like. Make him stop giving this 86 Galvatron or Coronation Starscream. Give us a transit, because I know a lot of people were asking for transit. But now that's another thing. When we ask for these figures, they're like, "Oh, we'll make them when we get people asking for them." People are already asking. Who was asking for a Starscream or an 86 Galvatron or more Rise of the Beast Scorponok? Like,
I'd like a proper for Infernicus and Dragonstorm that actually combined from like deluxes. Do like they did with the Rangerfall Devastator and release them one by one. Instead of a big fucking set, which I think is ridiculous.
Right.
Because honestly, if they can do it with Devastator and all these other combiners, why the hell can't they do that with Dragonstorm and Infernicus? And speaking of lines that they start but never finish, what about the RD 2001 figures? I know we got Sideburn. What about his brothers? And their repaints, because like they're super mode repaints, you could easily get them. Hell, I want the fucking Railroad Brothers that combine.
Oh, the train bots. But
they're also called like they're Railroad, like Midnight Express, Rapid Run, and
Okay, now those are the 2001 version. I thought you were talking about the G1. Okay, we're going.
No, I said the 2001 figures.
Gotcha.
Because I would love modern updated versions of them. And then the 4 construct bots or construction Autobots from that as well.
I desperately want a 6-shot and a quick switch.
Okay, now a new 6-shot, then that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And then also back on the repaint and remold thing a little bit. Stop repainting and remolding figures that we either don't get much figures of or we don't get figures of at all. Because we haven't gotten a new Bludgeon in a while, and then the second we get a figure of him, he's a repaint, and then everyone wants to let it slide, being like, "Oh, it's fine. We haven't gotten him in a while. Oh, it actually works for." No, why are you settling for this? Why are you settling for less? And then figures like I would have loved Cyberverse, a proper Cyberverse. What's her name? Shadow Striker.
Oh my god!
Literally when
Don't
she
get me
was
started.
listed, I looked up different versions of Shadow Striker to make sure that it would be the Cyberverse one. And I'm like, okay, yeah, so they can do Cyberverse one correctly. They still messed her up somehow. I don't know how, why. Like they just gonna use the mode for Sideburn for her. I'm like, what was even the point of
Yeah,
that?
they botched the
What was the
fucking
point?
alt mode for him. It didn't look
Like,
correct, and it bothers me.
That
what was
really
Cyber
annoys
wasn't
me
even
too. But
Cyber wasn't even released yet at that time. Why do you use characters for molds that are obviously for other characters? I don't.
like you said, just to be lazy, and for other we all know, just to sell toys. But
Also, hey Hasbro, you gave us a brand new Beast Wars Silverbolt. So where's our brand new Beast Wars Quick Strike at? I might not him.
we don't know if Hasbro is even watching this. I doubt it because people are barely watching my live streams nowadays. Hoping they'll get more attention. But before we get on topic, let's get to the next topic, the movies, which I'll explain. So we have had good movies and shows lately, like the Bumblebee movie. We believed it was the new reboot before it was confirmed, and shows like Cyberverse. It was pretty decent and fun. That's me. But after Earthspark was released, then we're starting to have problems. Like people are complaining about the who's voicing this or that. Like we had to grow into it, and then we hear about certain Decepticons becoming females or males. That's
Oh yeah,
That
that's
didn't
not
really
a
bother
fit.
me so
I
much
have
as the stuff that people really complained about.
I have a lot of mostly negative things to say about Earthspark because that is just not a good show to me. I literally tried to give it a chance. I tried to give it some slack here and there. I tried to, say like, okay, maybe they'll get better in the later episodes. Not, I'm not gonna lie. Earthspark in season one mostly has had some decent or interesting episodes, but
I
for the
like the one
most
with
part,
tarantulas. I
but
love this
but for
design.
but for the most part, the show is terrible. And I'm sorry, don't execute me, don't try to cancel me, but there was no reason to gender swap Skywarp, Ravage, or and all that. There was for Frenzy. There was no reason to do that. I'm sorry. If you want female characters represented so bad, either make a different character that is like
Oh,
that,
wait a
or
minute.
add characters like I don't know, Slipstream or I don't know, or Striker. I don't even like Striker like that, but still, add in female characters that actually could get used, that should honestly be used. Why is Flame War not in the show yet? Honestly, there's so many characters you could use, and it just doesn't really make sense to me as to why they don't want to use them. And on top of that, because honestly, all of that stuff, like the whole non-binary character, like that's the show's least. That's the least of that show's least of his worries. My main issue is how they represent the show. The story, the story has potential, saying like, oh, Decepticons are in hiding and the Autobots have to find the remaining Decepticons. That has potential to be a good show. Yet they don't utilize it properly. They don't use it properly. We have Terrans where I don't honestly the only Terrans I like is Twitch and hashtag, and that's it. They're kind of meh. Like again, the only ones I like is Twitch and hashtag, and the others are meh. But like they could have done so many things well with this, but they just added random stuff like Megatron being a good guy out of nowhere because the space bridge destroyed and they can't get home. That is stupid to me. I'm sorry. I already don't like the idea of him being a good guy, and the fact
I
that
mean,
they just did that.
if they
That
would explain a backstory about why Megatron changed and all that stuff, besides showing like glimpse about sending the old spark and destroying the space bridge, then they would have given us the attention. But as
there's
for
also the fact that, from what I understand, that was actually drawn from a comic book in which he became an Autobot and a good
Yes,
guy.
Yeah, in
that's nice.
IDW. I don't really like Megatron being a good guy, but I can at least say that IDW is probably the best way to make Megatron a good guy because they actually had a story and an arc for him to turn good. Earthspark
Yeah,
just did it out of nowhere.
that's the
nothing
thing.
gets only.
Earthspark definitely, if they wanted to go the good Megatron route, you have to give that time to, cook. You can't just throw us in and then tell us everything instead of showing it and saying, "Oh, they did this," and then the reasoning, as Prince said, it's very dumb. Like that's not a valid reason for him to, or a reason for him to completely switch his moral view. That doesn't make any sense. And the people who kept bringing up because every time I brought this up back when the show was still releasing episodes and stuff, people kept on bringing up IDW, and I'm like, they're not the same. IDW built up to that over a whole storyline that happened before that. That took a while before that even happened. And even then, he didn't swap and all of a sudden, oh, I'm a good guy. No, he still went on trial for his crimes and stuff. Like, he wasn't just let off the hook. That's not what happened at all. But in
No, they
Earthspark,
just took inspiration from it.
Earthspark just bloop. He's a good guy. That's that. And the Decepticons are good. I never finished the show, so I can't even fully say anything entirely on it because that would be unfair to it.
I
But
haven't seen all the newest episodes yet.
As someone who has seen all of season 1 and all of season 2 so far, I can be as harsh as I need to.
yeah,
Because
but
okay,
simply from what I've seen, like I don't even did we ever? I don't remember because I remember watching some with Prince. I don't remember if we even ever got to the Nightshade episode, or if we did. I think we did.
Is it like the one with him and Tarantulas?
No, not that one. It was the one that has that famous clip in it that everybody was trashing on.
Oh yeah, we got to that part.
Okay, I think we probably got to that after I had already seen it blow up all over the internet because it was already just everywhere. So that was a thing. But for the most part, I had issues with the show even before we got there. I had issues with the show before it even released. It was kind of like the TF1 syndrome with the marketing because I was just like, bleh to this. Like, it wasn't that interesting looking to me. But unlike with TF1, when I ended up watching it, nothing changed. With TF1, I was like, oh, this is actually a good movie. It wasn't as garbage as I thought it was going to be, or mid. But the Earthspark, no. The episodes, first of all, were just riddled with things that just didn't need to be there. The human characters, I'm not even one who actually hates human characters for the most part, because at this point I'm just numb to it, and I've grown content with the fact that that's just a common byproduct of live action movies and stuff. But in this specifically, no. Like, God, I honestly think the humans are worse than Miko for me. And I know that not everybody hates Miko. Me personally, I hate her. Or I used to. She's not my favorite anymore. But when I first watched the show, I hated her guts. But in this show, specifically the humans, I don't like a single one of them. I mean, the mom, she's not too bad. Actually, she's not too bad. The dad, I hate him. He's
Oh,
his
tell me about it.
You just hate him because he's a Bumblebee fanboy. That's the only reason why you hate him.
That's not the only reason, but that's a big reason. Like, that's if he's gonna be a Bumblebee fan, why can't he be like Raph with it? Not he doesn't have to be a smart guy, but why can't he just have a proper, relationship or friendship with Bumblebee rather than him just fanboying every 5 seconds? Like, that has to get irritating. If they was fanboying any character, it kind of does get irritating after a while to hear that stuff, especially as intensely as he did. Like, I don't like that. I don't like that. But other than it was mainly the whole just his whole vibe was just man to me. He didn't really add much to the storyline, and honestly, it felt like he just fit a quota because we have to be diverse and all that stuff, and I don't like.
It's funny you should say that.
But I don't think that it's that relevant to the topic here, but sure, whatever.
No, I was talking about the diverse part because that's one of the things that people had issue with the LGBTQ they them part with Nightshade.
Yeah. Again,
because I honestly I don't think that was really needed because I don't really talk about this at all because of all the controversial comments it would get from people, but I feel like that should not have been in there, and it just felt like they were actually trying to push that agenda in people's faces.
Yeah,
and it was just completely unnecessary.
And again, I'm not. Look, if you're gay, bi, straight, trans, or bisexual, whatever, I don't care. I don't care. If you're that way, then that's perfectly fine. But and one thing I can give Earthspark credit for is at least they did it with like an OC character. Like at least Nightshade is an original character, and then they didn't just grab someone like Prime and say, "Oh, he's this way now." At least they did that. But still, I don't like that they put this in there because this is especially more so because of the scene too. Like the scene that they're in, they're discussing a battle plan, and all of a sudden he's going to say like, "Oh, my pronouns are actually this and that." I'm sorry, that has nothing to do with what we're doing right now. Please wait until a proper moment in time.
I don't even know how they possibly could even do, like it. It felt like propaganda being shoved down our throats the way that they chose to go about that. And the guy in the comments, thank you, because I'm not going to be that because it's already at this point been some people been doing in the fandom for a while, and I'm not going to keep on saying, it's Nightshade's fault the show was bad, because it's not, because I didn't even like the show before Nightshade showed up, and Nightshade didn't really make my experience of the show worse or better. I was kind of indifferent to Nightshade, but the way that they went about representing Nightshade was just in your face, very blatant, very off tonally.
It was bullshit.
It was just so abrupt. It was weird. It didn't need to be set up that way.
It just felt forced, and I don't really mind if you're gonna put it in certain shows, but don't force it down my throat. That's my one thing, because I've seen a lot of shows and movies, like for example, The Owl House has a lot of that LGBT stuff in there, and I'm okay with it because they tell it well. But in this here, like Earthspark, it feels like you're just forcing it down, like shoving it down my face. And I'm just like, I don't care. I just want to see them fight the Decepticons and a proper story.
It was not entirely needed. Or if you're going to go down that route, because, pronouns have been a thing with everything since the beginning of time. We all refer to ourselves through pronouns and stuff. It's just that these alternate ones, if you're going to have alternate ones, sure. But that doesn't need to be something that's specifically placed in the show that is being told. It should just be, something that just already exists. And, in the comments, again, them discovering that also could have been a way they could have went about that while not being too in your face to the plot. Because, we got clear. Yeah, and I think that just throwing that into the script was unnecessary. Sometimes maybe the characters just need to act like it's a normal thing that's already been known. Just refer to them as that and move on. We don't need to sit here and have a whole scene that's like Nightshade's pronouns are they, them. It's so obvious. Like it feels like you're just holding a poster up to my face and saying this character is LGBT. Like I think that's disrespectful to the whole community. To be honest, that's just in your face. It's not even
disrespectful.
Especially since he's Cybertronian, so it 100% doesn't even make sense. Like, how would he even know about those pronouns?
Exactly.
He literally
Because they don't have any
he
like.
literally just got born. Like at the time, he literally just got born. How would he immediately know what Earth pronouns are? Like
Like, it
Maybe
doesn't.
because he was born from Earth, like he would may know like the Earth's customs melded in the planet itself. Maybe the reason why he was called they them.
That's
But
crazy. I don't know how really. I don't know how.
Still don't make sense though. Not to
and just
mention that the whole people being mad at Nightshade thing doesn't make sense when they should really be mad at the people who wrote the show instead of a character.
Yeah, it's not the
and,
character's
and
fault. It's the writing.
and again, just like you guys said, Nightshade honestly is the least of the show's worries. Honestly, I don't hate the show because of Nightshade. I don't even hate Nightshade because he's non-binary. I don't like Nightshade because he's boring to me. The only interesting thing about him is that he turns into an owl. His character to me just feels flat and bland. And again, there are way worse things that this show does and has like more issues to where it's like obviously the whole night like the Nightshade propaganda stuff. Again, that's the least of those show's worries because you're gonna give me like
We didn't even
I,
fully discover Twitch and Thrash yet before they already threw in a bunch of new Terrans, and then the villain, that human villain, trash.
oh yeah,
Just
absolutely terrible.
he was not needed. I heard about another one yesterday. I automatically think unneeded. Like some of this stuff is just not necessary. I don't think it was necessary back in animated either. And Mech was the only one I feel like made some sense and had some type of relevance to the plot. And I'm not even a TFP simp, but I like Mech was perfectly placed in there. Like this makes sense. Like I feel like there should have been more development behind that, an explanation on who they really are, because we kind of just got surface level knowledge on them. But even then, they still served a proper, cognitive function in the storyline, other than just being the bad guys. Like they have a reason to do this. I mean, I guess what's the dude's name with the robotic arm? I forgot his name.
Mandroid.
Mandroid, that guy. Okay, yeah, sure. Of course, he's kind of doing what Mech is doing, but he's
Much
just
different.
he's just corny. Like
I feel like rewatching Chester's Prime now for some reason.
like, we didn't need him. He's not a Silas. And
Yeah, like
he's more like a Dr. Arkeville, is what I'm reading from the comments in the live here. A couple of fans here are saying like Mandroid is like a bootleg version of Dr. Arkeville. Like,
which is just like I guess yes, him wanting to replacing his parts with Tia. I don't even remember what his whole gimmick was other than him being the tech guy, but I guess yeah, it does somewhat fit with TF. But the main storyline of TF is that it's two sides, or is basically just a civil war that broke out on a remote planet between robotic
Besides one story.
I don't think that some of this stuff was, relevant to a war story, but whatever they choose. It just
and then on top of that, the characters in Earthspark are characterized very, very poorly. Prime got the worst of it. They made Prime very cringy, and people were like, "Oh, I want him to be like how he was in G1 and animated." At least with G1 and animated, he was actually, good. Like he was written well, or written very well. And Earthspark, he's written very terribly. Same thing goes for like all the characters. Like B, why does B want the war back? Why is Megatron just laughing and kicking up with the humans? Why does he have a human partner? Why is RC feeling like a soccer mom? It's just
animated Prime is like that's something that's very circumstantial to the way that he was put into the storyline of animated. You can't really apply that unless you change things. He started from the bottom and built himself up. That's how that version of Prime goes. Earthspark Prime feels like a stepdad, whereas let's go to like Gary Chalk's Prime or Primal and all that stuff, where he actually feels like some type of dad, not a stepdad, but an actual dad, or a general or somebody who's in that mentor, um, you know, character or perspective.
Like a
Where
father figure.
yeah, a father figure. Whereas
Yeah.
Earthspark, he feels more like some goofy stepdad that just butted in. He doesn't really fit the way Prime can be or usually is characterized, because he doesn't Prime doesn't always have to be characterized as the TFP sense or the movie sense or anything, because look at animated, they completely deviated and it was good, it was fun, they did this interestingly. And the same problems I had with Earthspark's human crap I still have with animated as well. This is not me being biased at all. These shows have issues with the way that they choose human villains. I think human villains, being bad is worse than a human side character being, piss poor or whatever. Because the human villains are supposed to be threatening. If you don't have a threatening villain, it's kind of just like, who are you? You're just some guy that just exists. You don't have no kind of wow factor that makes me go, wow, you're cool. Especially since this is a story between aliens fighting. I don't really care about a human being a villain. Like that doesn't meld well unless you do something creative with it, like with Meltdown or with Mech. Something that can fit the storyline and that doesn't completely take away from who the main antagonists are, which are the Decepticons primarily.
And then another issue that this show does tremendously that really, really has gotten old to me and really pisses me off every time they do it. They always try to force the whole family thing on, and it's like, yes, I understand family is very important, and family is also important in Transformers 2 because the Autobots and the humans are a family in a way. But consistently saying, "Oh, family, 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 family." This is I thought this was Transformers, not Fast and Furious. Stop. I don't need to
Oh my
get
god, why you had
repeated.
to go there?
I don't. That's how it felt because there's almost every episode or every scene. Oh, that's
I
my
see
family.
that. Like I can
Oh,
picture that.
yeah, that's my family. Oh, this is my family. I gotta protect my family. We get it. Like,
Well, let me tell you my take on the show. Like,
Mhm.
yes, okay. So let me start with the character part. Yes, they all need a lot of work. Megatron, he needs like a better backstory, and maybe he should have been a rogue before he turned to the good guy. Optimus, he needs a lot of work. He's really cringe. But think about this part. If Optimus had any aspects from like the movie verse, especially how he acted in The Last Night, or in Revenge of the Fallen or Dark of the Moon, being a bot killing psychopath, you think that would have been more fit for the
Off with the hood.
I mean, honestly, I don't see Baber's Prime as a psychopath because honestly, a lot of his kills were justified in the movies. Really, because a lot of the times where he killed is because the Decepticons were the ones who attacked him first. The only
Right.
one where I can somewhat say the only ones where I can somewhat say it wasn't justified was the ending at Dark of the Moon where Megatron was trying to make a truce, and even then, I can't hate that ending entirely because after everything Megatron has done, it makes sense for him to just be like, no, I'm just gonna kill you right now, honestly. And if Earthspark Prime was like that, I wouldn't hate it, honestly, because it would make sense, especially with the story that they have. I mean, I'm not saying they should do that. I'm not saying that they should grab Baber's Prime and make him into Earthspark Prime. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying if that was the alternative, I wouldn't hate it, especially if it was written well. Because with this storyline, rogue Decepticons always trying to hide and they just want the war to be over, why not kill them? I mean, it makes sense. It makes more sense to kill them than imprison them because you're in a war. There's going to be casualties. So I never found that as like an issue really. And I don't understand why people always want to say, oh, he's a psychopath. Oh, he's a murderer. He's in a war. That's like saying when the military goes in war, that's like saying, oh, they're all psychopaths because they have to kill people. They're doing it to protect the country, just like Prime is doing. He's doing it to protect his friends and to protect Earth and everything that he holds dear. Why would he just let a Decepticon live, knowing damn well they can just come back and attack them again? Like, that's stupid.
Well, that was a good reason why I asked that, because I was going to talk about Optimus from the movies, but thanks to you answering, you helped me resolve that problem. But
it depends.
The point about Earthspark is, from all your aspects and all your thoughts about it, I feel like they need more time on it. Like, they should have processed the episodes or do a different concept within the story. Like the family thing, the Quintus Prime, the Emberstone, Terrence, they could have kept that, but they need a proper story. It's as if they rushed into the problem. If they had more screen time, proper line out of episodes, and if they did that, then they would actually have a more proper story, and they would show parts about what happened to the Autobots and Decepticons, why is the base bridge destroyed, and why did Megatron change sides, or they were supposed to give a reason for him, or why is the Emma Stone here, which I know they explained it in the season 2 thing, but they would have explained it. They need more development, more plot work, all that kind of source. If they actually worked that out before, then Earthspark could have reached to a point where it's that good between certain shows,
Yeah, I think it depends, honestly, when it comes to Bay vs. Prime. Honestly, I look at it sort of the same way, sort of between both of you and Prince. I can see it both ways because he is a very complex character, all things considered, and he's very different from a lot of different, the other Optimus. He has some of the same qualities, but he does somewhat descend in his, mental state and his views and his moral choices and all that stuff as the movies go on, because he starts off very hopeful and all that stuff and is trying to his best to, protect the Earth, protect humans, and so on and so forth. But as it goes on, he just slowly just kind of changes. He
sends into madness.
I wouldn't say that, more so he spirals a bit, especially since as the movies go on, more and more of his team is just getting killed left and right. The Decepticons are constantly coming back to do something, and then right after that, the humans end up turning on them, and he's just like, "What do I even do at this point?" And that, but I still think that the Dark of the Moon ending with Megatron getting killed is kind of just bad. I don't think that, despite, yeah, at the end of the day, Megatron, he's he's a genocidal maniac. Absolutely, we're not going to deny that or completely, excuse what he's done just because he saved Optimus that one time. But that doesn't really excuse going ahead and doing the exact same thing right back. Because, I mean, two wrongs don't make a right. I'm just saying.
Agreed.
You can't just go in and say, "Oh, well, if you did this, so I'm going to do it to you now." And that's that. Oh, wow, you kill him. I mean, at that point, you kind of just gave him an easy way out of his crimes. I feel like you should probably reap what you sow rather than get, an easy way out. Because, I mean, you just kill him. Oh, wow. Well, and plus that kind of really diminishes the supposed brothership they had, because he just kills them just like that. And from in Prime's perspective, he's always not. He's always tried to stray away from killing Megatron, because that's he has big long history with him. That's his brother. He doesn't want to do that, even though he's done all this terrible shit. He doesn't want to kill him.
I think the reason why he didn't Dark Moon is because he finally realized it doesn't matter what he does, Megatron will never change his ways. So,
well, yeah,
he has no other choice but to actually end it, full on end. I mean, even though he did in the first movie, it was basically, if he doesn't, he's just gonna commit mass genocide.
Well, yeah, that's when he would come to the the introspection of that, but he didn't really do that in the third movie. He just was like, I'm gonna kill you. There was no moment of thinking or hesitance or.
Well, there was right when Megatron was talking to him, he was actually thinking.
I don't know, but
Like,
considering what the original ending was and how they chose to do that, I don't think that it was entirely the best alternative. I feel like a mix of the two could have sufficed. Like there could have been some type of workaround between this that didn't completely go against part of his character. Because I mean, Prime, despite being in a world with a bunch of crazy killing Decepticons and stuff, still tries to find some type of way to redeem his enemies and stuff. But if there's no space for that, then they've got to be put down. But I don't think that everybody's a lost cause, and it depends entirely on who it is, on or whether they can get over their
their actions.
And their
I understand that.
instinct to do all that stuff and their incentives.
But there's one thing about Optimus Prime you gotta admit. He does kind of have a head fetish with taking off their heads all the time.
I mean, that just seems like the easy way to kill them.
I don't know.
That way you can make sure they stay dead.
It's just a funny trend that tends to occur.
I mean,
Then
not really.
one thing about Mandroid that I noticed is that he's kind of a contradiction. Because he hates like all Cybertronians, but yeah, he'll take parts from Decepticons and just put them on himself.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing.
That's one thing that annoyed me. So he's a fucking walking contradiction.
That's another thing that I realized about Mandroid, and okay. First of all, when he takes the arm off Hardtop, this man Hardtop doesn't even notice. Like he just continues talking. He doesn't even notice his he's like, oh, my arm's gone. Like he does. You feel no pain, no scuffle, no. Hey, what are you doing? He just takes his arm off gently, and I hate. And this show, especially Earthspark, they're not. I don't feel like they're treating the Transformers like they're living creatures. They're treating them like
because in the other
they're treating them like they're just robots and stuff. And
because in any other show they would literally fucking bleed.
I don't really like when they do that because they're still living creatures. They still have emotions. They can feel pain and all of that. And then on top of that, another issue I realized with this show is, first of all, why are the main characters the humans again? I'm not, and again, I'm just like Retro. I'm not that type of person to always hate it when you have a human main character, because sometimes it would make sense, and it does make sense. Like if you're on Earth, of course you're gonna have some humans helping out and stuff. But at the same time, why are the humans? Why are we mostly focusing on the humans? Why can't we have the Autobots being focused? Have more episodes of Wheeljack or Alito One or RC or Grimlock, instead of just having them be like cameo characters that show up every now and then. And then Bumblebee, look, I love Bumblebee and all, but even I can this is one show where I can definitely tell that I like Bumblebee and all, but seeing him only him in every episode is like, can we see him with like other characters at least, or see like other characters too? Like it's just
at least got to see him with Breakdown and find out that they have a little history.
In the comments there, I agree with a lot of that as well. It's kind of like at the end of TFP when Megatron decided he's done with that as well. As I said, I still don't think that his crimes should go, unpunished. But I mean, he's at the point where he doesn't really care anymore, and that's when we kind of think of a way we can handle this. We can probably go like the IDW route where he still has to pay for his crimes, because that we can't just forget that happened. But just outright killing him isn't going to really solve much, other than We just took him off the board, but that's all. There's nothing else there. There's no um, reaping at all. There's no getting what you deserve. He just there you go to the afterlife.
Hey, Retro, when you were talking about the human characters of Earthspark, you mentioned there was two. The second one, would it happen to be the one character in season 2 that's like the ringmaster at that
Yes, it's
carnival
Maestro.
in the one episode?
Probably
Yeah,
he's basically
Yes, it's him.
got control
Yes,
of Cosmos.
yes.
Okay.
I do not like that character. I'm going to admit that's probably one of the least characters, human characters that Hasbro ever made yet. I don't know why they even.
He's worse. He's worse than Mandroid, and on top of that, he returns again in another episode. Like in the first episode he shows up in, he only really sees Twitch and hashtag. No, not hashtag. Twitch and Thrash. And then the next episode he shows up in, he sends them all like a letter to get there. Like he sends Jawbreaker, hashtag, and Nightshade them. And I'm like, how does he even know about those three too? And also
Doesn't
another
he
thing,
doesn't he have tabs kept on him? Because he
yeah,
did say something about how he knew of them before they actually officially met.
And then another thing, I despise Jawbreaker's character. I hate him. I hate his design. I hate his character. I hate everything about him. Because another thing, they're treating these Cybertronians like actual children. And I get it. Like there's some that I get it. Like you can do that tastefully, but the way they're doing is like they're actually treating them like actual children, and I don't like that. There was literally a scene where Jawbreaker yells out "mom," and that was I was so tempted to turn off the episode after he yelled that. I was
I
very
will say
annoyed.
this about Jawbreaker.
Feel.
It's that episode where they have him basically being mentored by Grimlock, and we get more backstory about Grimlock, and it makes you feel more empathetic for him considering his situation. Whereas in Dino mode, he's full on savage, but in Robot mode, he's actually more smart.
I mean, I don't really like Earthspark Grimlock either. Like his voice is terrible. I'm sorry. Like the voice actor is cool. Don't get me wrong, but the voice it's just a generic black guy's voice from him. And I don't know, man. Like, why can't we go back? Why can't y'all do what y'all did in Fall of Cybertron? Where in Fall of Cybertron he had like a little bit of intelligence, but he wasn't like the smartest character. And then when he goes to beast mode, he can be that way. Why can't we go back to those days for Grimlock?
That's kind of like what they did with him.
And then back on the and then with him,
they did the same thing with him in Cyberverse.
Back on the whole topic of Jawbreaker and the Terrans, there's a whole segment with Aftermath. I hate Aftermath as well. He literally acts like a punk, like a
bully,
a teen punk. And then they try to do this thing where Breakdown is his father and Aftermath is his kid, and they have this whole montage and stuff. I'm like, what are we doing? Is this even Transformers anymore? Like,
yeah, that was fucked up. I have to say. Plus, I wouldn't say Aftermath's more like a punk. I feel like he's a obnoxious dumbass delinquent that just jumped out of someone's. I'm not gonna say that last part, but you get what I mean. I feel like I said, they really need to work more on the characters and the plots and all that stuff. But like, I was fine with season 1. Like y'all said, it was okay. Maybe if they like separated season 1, like make it like the first half 1 and the other half 2, like, and make them longer, then it would have a proper storyline. But all in all, I'm just gonna say, Earthspark goes down the drain. It needs work. But at least we have some like other good stuff, like the movies and such. Like, and I'm also excited to see G.I. Joe finally coming with Transformers for a change. Like, that's gonna be a big step up, don't you think?
Speaking of Aftermath, did anyone notice in that episode that they literally blatantly showed racism? Like they had Starscream blatantly being racist towards him because he's not a true Cybertronian.
Yeah,
like that was kind of
probably.
fucked up.
I don't really care. I don't really care enough about his character to really care about that. Really,
No,
honestly.
I just thought it was fucked up that they actually put that in there.
I mean,
Starscream was already.
Starscream is a jackass. He pretty much was kind of racist in TFP 2 of Knockout. So
He was already racist to begin with when it came to different, especially those who only turned into motor vehicles and stuff.
I mean, guys, this is Starscream we're talking about. He has an opinion about everything and everyone, and like, no matter what series he comes, he feels like
Yeah,
he's
but
fighting
it
everyone
wasn't
to
just Starscream that they had doing that. They had like the Thundercracker.
I mean,
and
technically, they aren't true Cybertronians because they're not Cybertronian at all.
Yeah, but they're like half Cybertronian.
but born of Earth. So
When it comes, when it comes to their species itself, yeah, but they're not from Cybertron. That's a true fact. And then there's
And one thing that that contradicts that is the fact that there's other Cybertronians that aren't born at Cybertron, yet they have no problem with them.
because they were like, they were.
That might be a
Looks like the
different
Princess Prime thing.
continuity.
Never mind. Sorry.
It might be a different continuity kind of thing. I'm not entirely sure. But
Like,
for the part,
for instance, the Sharkticons, and in IDW comics, they have like the Mistress in Flame, and like all the female characters on there. Like they're still Cybertronians. They're just not born on Cybertron.
That's different.
technically, the thing is, those characters are all the same species. All of them are still the same species, and they're part of the Cybertron colonies, which still technically makes them Cybertronian, just not from Cybertron themselves. So they wouldn't be a native Cybertronian. They would be a.
But that's kind of exactly like what's going on with the Terrans, except for they're from Earth.
Which is true, yeah, but
because they were birthed from the Ember Stone. I get what you're thinking, but
but but didn't they say that the Ember Stone is what helped create all Cybertronians?
Well, not just Cybertronian base, like creatures made from the Ember Stone. Because what
I'm saying specifically is that yes, they are Cybertronian, but they aren't base, native Cybertronians like the rest of the others are. They are native Earthlings that happen to be the species Cybertronian.
Now, for the ones like the IDW or Cyberverse, because I learned the Age of Expansion kind of thing, those guys were from Cybertron, but like millions of years ago, because it's like, I think it was part of the Age of Expansion. Like they wanted to expand their races and colonies outside of Cybertron. Reason why we got like Caminus, we got the Camians, and then Velocitron with the Velocitronians, all that kind of sorts.
Yeah. And even then, those are still part of the Cybertron colony, whereas Earth is part of the
But yet they're from different planets.
But they're still part of the Cybertron colony, whereas Earth
That's my point, though. So wouldn't the Terrans also be part of that, since even though they weren't born on Cybertron, they're still Cybertronian?
Not really.
But they're not natives. That's the main difference.
But aren't those other ones not natives?
But they're not natives to the planet Cybertron, but they're still native to the Cybertron colonies.
The point is, the Terrans were creations of Quintus Prime because of his Ember Stone. His Ember Stone creates his own version of life. So basically, they're not from Cybertron. They're from his own creator, Quintus Prime himself, because of his gift.
But yet they're still technically Cybertronian because they're half.
Yes, but they're not from Cybertron. But they're all made from the Ember Stone. That's it. They're not from Cybertron at all. The Ember Stone can create certain life if it was landed or made on that certain planet. Just like how Terratronus explained. She was made from Earth, and then those other aliens were made from those other planets, especially the Quintessons. Like, where'd you get Quintessons? Because they're on the planet Quintessa. That you see where I'm going with?
But that's my whole point, though. All these other ones aren't from Cybertron. They're like you said, they're native, or but yeah, it's only the Terrans that Starscream's like this with, but not these other ones. Even though in a way they're like the other ones from these other planets because they were born on these other planets. Yeah, he's not like an asshole to them. That's my whole point. It's just like at the Terrans.
Okay. Anyway, let's just get down to our final segment, and we'll call it a day. I can tell it's been taking long. The last thing I want to talk about is the video games. So let me piece out here from the start. So back in the 2000s to the 2010, we actually had some good games, especially from the ones from High Moon Studios, except for Rise of the Darkspark. That's a different story, which needs...
Why the hell does everyone hate that game so much?
Oh, well, maybe because it was... Well, I mean, the movieverse part, it wasn't properly aligned with the movie because it looked like it never existed. It's like another reality of Age of Extinction. And Fall of Cybertron, they never had anything connected to it. I don't know why, but they also have a lot of beef that Megatron looks like his Fall of Cybertron version, where instead it was supposed to be in between the War and Fall of Cybertron, so he's supposed to have his original look. I don't know why about that, but it has. But the point is, we're going to talk about the really problematic games, starting with the
Reactivate
Battlegrounds. So Transformers Battlegrounds is supposed to be like one of those tactic games where you're supposed to do the point them at this or that or attack them at a certain enemy. I feel like it needed a little more work than just making it like a tactic game. Like if you were the creators of Battlegrounds, well, because it's a Cyberverse game, how would you guys want to make it?
I mean,
is that the one where you can take
made
the figures and scan them, and then you can play as those characters in the game?
No.
Oh, because they ended up taking that down.
I would just gone back to. Honestly, this might sound generic, but I don't care. I like this style for TF. I would just go back to the Fall of Cybertron, War of Cybertron, or movie tie-in games style for those games, or more so, like better yet, make it like a kind of like a Skylanders type, where it's like you could look at it in that way. That would have been cool for Cyberverse Battlegrounds and that, or no, better yet, Devastation. Devastation is like the best way I could say.
I've never played Skylanders or Devastation.
I would go with that style for Cyberverse Battlegrounds, and you can have like play as B Prime, Windblade, Grimlock, all the characters you would want to play with. I would go with that style because it'd be pretty interesting, and I like those styles for Transformers, honestly.
Okay, a Transformers game based off the Skylanders. That sounds awesome. I'll be honest. I was a Skylanders fan back in the day, and my brothers used to love playing it. Here's a funny thing. My parents also liked it too. So guess what kind of Christmas gift I gave everybody?
Skylanders?
Yep. I gave them the Giants one. But basically, yeah.
I've never played that game before. Or the Devastation, or War for Cybertron and Fall Cybertron.
I have history with it.
I kind of hope that they do get reissued because I'd like to get them.
Now, the second game I want to discuss is that Transformers Earthspark version, which I don't know why they made it. Probably because for extra money. It
looks boring.
Yeah, it's boring, but Retro Prince, what do you guys think of the game?
It's boring, terrible, and I don't like it. Just like I don't like the show.
What game?
Well, that cuts down to that.
The goal, it just seems like it's too simple.
I mean, just that. It's just boring. Like, first of all, you only play as Bumblebee, and that's
I was gonna say that too.
Play as, and I'm just like, you can play as no other character. I mean, I
didn't know there was.
At least in the live action games for the PS3, you can actually alternate between characters that you play in, both Autobots and Decepticons. Like you can choose who you decide to play as.
Mm-hmm.
That would be amazing. Well, at least we have that for Galactic, the Galactic Arena. Shoot, what was that racing game called again? The
I don't
Galactic
know.
Trials, or
That might have been it.
okay, yeah. Well, that one I kind of like. It's like one of those retro Mario Kart games, but you play with the Transformers. Like you don't just race; you do a lot of other shit on it. I'd love to try it myself. No, once I get the game, but have you guys tried it or no?
No.
Tried what?
The Galactic Trials, I think it's what it's called.
Oh no, I looked up gameplay and I got bored the second. I got bored after like the first match because I thought it was gonna be like a team deathmatch mixed with Mario Kart. And after seeing the gameplay, I'm like, oh, it's just boring, constant this all over again. Okay, yeah.
Now,
It's just
two games that I think is kind of bullshit because I like playing them both. It's the 2015 RD game that they made where you take the figure, any one of their figures, you can scan the Autobot Decepticon logo, and then you unlock the character and can play as it. For some reason, they took that game down, along with the I think it was the Age of Extinction game or whatever it was. They took that down too. It was like came out, I want to say in 2015, where you could play as Optimus, Bumblebee, Grimlock, and basically you go around shooting at a bunch of Shadow Raiders, and then eventually lock down.
Yeah, I know that part. But
And
the
for
RED
some
game,
reason, they took those two games down, and I'm like, why? I enjoyed playing them, and all of a sudden they're just gone.
and then I have a lot to say. I have a lot more to say about another game like Reactivate when we get to it.
that was the final thing I was going to talk about. Tell me your input of the game.
I
So
thought they were working on it for
I
longer than that.
okay, so funny enough, the trailer actually the day the trailer came out was on my birthday. I saw it and I was just like, wait, a new Transformers game? I didn't know about this. I didn't hear about a new game. I watched it, and while it didn't show any Transformers aside from the ending, and I can understand a lot of people's reasons why they don't like that trailer, I was actually excited. I was actually like, oh, this is something new and interesting because hold on real quick.
When I first saw the trailer for all,
And then I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is cool because, and then when I looked in more onto it, I was like, oh, this is actually a interesting idea. And because like a Transformers story where Transformers are in like a post-apocalyptic world or a post-apocalyptic setting, I thought that was actually interesting and unique. So I was excited for this game. And then they were going back to the Fall of Cybertron ways of doing this, all of gameplay. So I was actually excited, especially seeing all the designs of the characters. I was like, all these characters look really good, and I was actually intrigued. Like a lot of people weren't that excited for it because we didn't have much info and stuff. But me personally, I was like, I was the main one defending and trying to get people hype and be like, oh, come on, it's a new game, an interesting game. Designs look cool. Just give it a chance. And then, um, um, uh,
Well, I believe you on that part because
oh,
I was hyped
wait,
about it as well.
well, and then, sorry, I keep pausing. There's some stuff up, but and then after that, radio silence, nothing new. All we would get is leaks, and it'd just be old leaks of the game, and we'd just be waiting, 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 I hear that, oh, they had to change some things in the game, see more leaks and stuff, and then it came to this where it got canceled. And I kid you not, when I saw that it got canceled, I was so frustrated and mad.
Oh my fucking.
I was so frustrated and mad to the point where I didn't even feel like raging. I just looked at my phone for like 30 seconds with a blank face and just scrolled and just did whatever because I was just that upset. Like I was more so disappointed than frustrated or anything. Cause and I look at and we get more gameplay, leaked gameplay. I see the gameplay and I fail to realize why it needed to be changed, why it was an issue, why it needed to be canceled. Because I looked at the gameplay, I'm like, this game looks fun. This looks perfect. It looks like it's almost finished. What was the issue? What needed changing? Why did it take so long? And why did you just decide to just abandon it, knowing damn well that there's a lot of fans who were actually excited for this? I was really excited for this game and I would have loved to play it or at least watch gameplays of it. And especially since after like the whole past two games we got from like battlegrounds and stuff, all those boring games, I was actually excited to get a game that seemed
Actually,
I was excited to I was actually excited to get a game that seemed interesting to me for once because the last good transfer game we got was Devastation. And then knowing that they paid a lot of money for this game and how it was used so much, I was just like, what was the issue? Like why did it need to be changed? Why was it that much of a struggle? I don't I don't even understand why it was that difficult to give us this proper game and why it needed to be canceled because I saw more gameplay leaks and I'm just like I don't see a single thing wrong with this game. I really don't. Just
if
No,
I
and
may,
even then they could have at least just updated us, like continuously updated us instead of leaving us in the dark.
what they were doing, because I heard about this, they were taking, cause they'd already had it in one format, and then they had to go, since the company got taken over by another one, they had to take it, basically upload it to a new system, like the framework of it and everything, or software or whatever. But when I first saw the trailer for it, I thought, ooh, this looks really good. And then yesterday when I found out, it got canceled, I'm like, because I originally thought, that's pretty cool. Like, it's Transformers versus like an alien species that's invading Earth. And then yesterday when I found out it got canceled, I'm like, oh great, it went from activated to being deactivated.
not entirely.
It fucking did.
Actually, I was going to tell you guys just right now. I received word from one of my friends, Lincoln Miss Prime. He just uploaded a post saying something about splash damage was the problem. He sent this on his post. To everyone blaming Hasbro for this whole ordeal, the people in charge of Splash Damage's studio scammed Hasbro, and the integrity of Reactivated was a scam. And Hasbro and us, the fans, fell victim to it. Saying the
I
sad
wasn't I wasn't hating Hasbro for it. I just thought it sucked that it was, canceled and deactivated and basically dead.
and I blame Hasbro for falling for this whole thing. Like I can't believe like right now it's definitely deactivated for good. But this whole I feel like Hasbro really needs to work on trusting other
It
companies.
sounds to me like it fell for like a Ponzi scheme.
The fact that Splash Damage didn't even bother to develop this game pisses me off even more. Because do you not understand how many people were excited for this game? I was excited for this game,
Me
and y'all
too.
are just going fuck us like this. Like, honestly, and Hasbro, honestly, at this point, just give the game to High Moon. I don't know why y'all moved away from High Moon. Get just if instead of canceling Reactivate entirely, just give it to High Moon, see if they can do it, or better, or from the future, just keep staying for High Moon for the future. Because Splash Damage doesn't seem to be trusted with this type of game, and that's another thing. It seems like Splash Damage has made that. Splash Damage was the one that made that Transformers racing game, and then Earthspark game. Y'all can do those games with ease, but then when it comes down to reactivate something that'll actually be good, that's when you don't want to care.
I was talking to IDW about this earlier, and with the cancellation of the game goes the toys too, because I was actually looking forward to a Slipstream figure.
I was hoping they create a deluxe Power Glide, actually.
I wanted Slipstream badly. Ironhide, bad. Ratchet, badly. Megatron, Shockwave, like Power Glide, badly.
I was really impressed by the figure that we got of Starscream. I thought, if we get it Slipstreamed, it should look pretty damn good. I was gonna have that basically be my stand for my Movieverse Slipstream. Because I dug the way it looked in both modes, both robot and alt mode.
Yeah, man, it does kind of look like a well-made Slipstream for like the new movie line, like for Rise of the Beast or the Bumblebee movie. That could really fit the picture. Okay, and then look, let me say this part. Yeah, I feel bad like for the whole scam and the activation thing, and I'm really sorry you guys had to be hyped for nothing. But there's a reason why I was gonna end this live with a good news kind of ordeal. You see, I'm working with a friend who he said he was working on a CGI series similar to Reactivate, but better in a newly made version. And let me tell you, I was joining into the cast, and he let me see this script or two, and let me tell you, I think this one is a little more twisted, but more phenomenal than what we were going to get for the Reactivate game. But I'll tell you guys, if you guys were a part of the cast, I think you would understand how this episode would look. I don't want to spoil it all, but there is one good thing about this. I'm planning another live stream sometime this weekend with the creator of the new series Transformers Atlas, or Till All Are One.
It's not Saturday, is it? It's not Saturday, is it?
Well, actually, what's tomorrow? How about make it tomorrow?
I have a personal question.
Okay.
What year was the last year that Hasbro used gold plastic?
It was years ago.
What was that year?
I don't remember the exact year, but I know it was a while ago. But a lot of stuff stopped using.
This question has been running through my mind for a few days now.
Hey, wait. Can I screen share or? Okay, cool. Here, I was going to show you a little teaser he made. No, I'm telling you, this is going to be a full CGI thing. There. Can you guys see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is his this was a side channel. I forgot what his real one was, but here is a little teaser of what he was working on.
And may there be peace among
After he just shoots up the place.
I could have thought maybe he would have had more planned for it, but sorry, yeah.
It's funny because it says may there be peace, but yeah, Optimus just right after Optimus just gets done shooting up the place.
But I'm gonna discuss with him tomorrow to see if he would cooperate, making a live stream or an interview kind of thing to discuss what his series will be about. And you all will have a chance to hear about it. Or if there's any chance you want to join in for questioning, I'll allow it. But for now, I'll have to talk to him.
All right.
and I'll make a post about it in the first thing in the morning to let you all know what time of the live stream will begin. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, later, could you explain to me how to do this on StreamYard, setting it up?
Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
All right.
But holy shit, we only have one person left in the live stream. Okay, where's everybody? I was like, are they all? Oh, it could be like different time. But well, man, wow, I can't believe they made it this far and explain about Hasbro. But I'm really glad I had a chance to talk to you guys. But before we wrap this up, is there anything else you guys have any problems with Hasbro before we?
Some of the figures, like not long after you get them, certain parts on them just start cracking and breaking.
The lack of promotion. They have not been doing a good job promoting anything recently.
Distribution, like I was talking about, like my area tends to not get a bunch of the waves, and it annoys the hell out of me, especially when there's certain figures I'm really looking forward to, only for my area not to get the wave that it's in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then
I find a lot. Like all the people are saying that they see commander classes and shit. Yeah, good for you. I've never seen not a single fucking one. And I really want that damn Magmatron too. Hell, I've never even seen a single Titan class figure in person.
Is there anything else that bothers you, or is that it?
I mean, besides like what everyone else talked about, like the QC issues, clear plastic, factory errors, like all that shit annoys me.
Well, I think we got that.
Oh, and the idea of them with the no plastic windows, like
Hasbro just
people stealing fucking heads for some reason.
Still, we talk about the plastic thing too, so I kind of get the idea. They need to work on their toys, but they're only just doing that cheap ass thing just to make money. But I guess that's basically it. And we explained everything, or maybe we did. But who knows? Maybe if anything else happens, we'll just have another discussion about it another time. But I want to thank you guys for joining in. I was happy to have other voices to tell me all their opinions about how they feel about Hasbro or all their stuff they've done for Transformers.
They need to get their shit together.
You can say that again.
They need to get their shit together.
But maybe, hopefully, we'll make things better. We'll keep making our own Transformers content, and hopefully it'll be twice as better. Hopefully, Prince, I'm really stoked about your episode. Please give me full tabs about it soon.
Yes, I shall update y'all as to when it will release.
Good. And let me know when you want Springer, because I really enjoy voicing that guy.
Yes, all I can say is he will return. Well, I don't. The episode 6 is gonna be split into 2, so like half of it will be releasing, and the other half will release when it's done editing. Because if I just did it with the 1 hour it was supposed to be, it would take way longer. That's the whole reason why it's coming out sooner than expected.
Yeah, I'm not stoked to hear my performance because it's from a year ago.
So it's gonna be like an episode 6 and 7, like one of those 2-parters, because I love those.
Yeah, 6 and 7. So Springer should be coming back with new lines around episode 9.
Well, then you better hurry, because I got better things to do tonight than die sitting around waiting.
Yes.
Do any of you guys own the Transformer 2 Dragon Megatron by any chance?
I do.
I do.
Okay, well, you guys might. Well, You might want to check it because I heard that the top parts on the wings, the parts that move back and forth,
Please don't say that.
they're on backwards.
Oh,
Mine's
my.
perfectly fine.
Well, then I guess that's probably it. So, folks, that's the whole conversation of Hasbro and the fate of Transformers. Hopefully this year we'll make better content than they do, because right now it's nothing but bull scrap. Nothing but scrapless shit.
Honestly, I hope the prices go back down.
I guess we'll call it a night. I want to thank King's Domain, Retro Jack, and Prince Productions for joining me in this live. Round of applause for all of them. If they were
Good
in. But
metaphorical round of applause.
Yes.
Anything y'all want to say before we call it a night?
There's your applause.
Subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for my next episode.
And stay tuned about like Cup eventually.
Probably Cub is not coming out until like another 3 years.
Shut up.
That'd be 5.
Well then, folks, we all say good night. Have a good one until all are one.
Yes.
Yes. Till all are one.
Okay, we need more enthusiasm in that part.
Till all are one.
One. That's better. Night, folks. Oh,
Yes.
shit.
Yes.